Take out our fam. We back in the building with another video. This is your host with the most, Ww3 Dennis. I'm here accompanied by my co-host.
Talladega Eli, aka Evil Eye Eli. Let's get right into it, man. Fuck it. Let's get right into it, man.
Hell yeah. We're going to war, baby. Shit's fucked up for us, man, right now. And
Going to war.
hey, we kind of seen this shit coming with Trump. He's a hothead. He's a gunslinger. You know, he ain't taking no shit from no other country. And hey, Iran's fucking with the right one, and I think that we're fucking with the right one too, because Iran is not going to take anything that has happened over this weekend lightly at all. And if you're not updated, this is going to be a video pretty much on the attacks over the weekend that Trump had. Pretty much, how would you say that?
He announced them. I mean,
yeah, he pretty much announced. He did them kind of secretly. He didn't tell anybody that he was about to do this. And they attacked 3 nuclear sites in Iran.
Yeah.
And prior to this even happening, Iran kind of warned us there will be some high consequences for us, stepping into this whole entire Israel conflict.
Yeah.
And what did Mr. Trump do after he promised everybody no war, no more American soldiers dying over there?
Yeah.
What does he do? He provokes Iran over some shit that ain't got nothing to do with us. But let's go ahead and see his statement on this situation.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Thank you very much.
Sorry for the delay, y'all.
A short time ago,
We're
the
getting that
U.S.
fixed.
military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime, Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success.
Spectacular.
Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been...
Right off of that alone, you saying that's really provoking them niggas right there.
Exactly.
Talking about it'll be a lot easier now to attack them. What's your thoughts on like how he's speaking about this so far, and like just his actions over the weekend?
Yeah,
as well?
he's very confident about this shit. Very arrogant, very confident. I mean, he's saying what he's supposed to say. If I'm being honest with you,
Really?
to an extent. Yeah.
Why do you say that?
I mean, you got to make the American people feel safe to a somewhat. You can't sit here and be like, oh yeah, we scared, like we gonna back down. Like nah, like
I mean, clearly you're not scared to go back now.
Exactly.
You initiated the shit.
That's very true. I'm just saying, like he gotta poke his chest out like that as a, you feel me, president of America.
Yeah.
To as far as the politically correct shit.
That's fair, but at the same time, I feel like you kind of do need to still be a little bit more diplomatic as well.
That's very true.
Because, this is the reason why a lot of other countries outside of America hate America.
That's very true.
Because of this arrogant kind of like, I'm going to swing my big dick around, for lack of better words.
Pissing contest.
Yeah, just doing that to different countries. That's why Americans are hated outside of America. Because of that whole entire persona and how he's presenting this to the people. And when we get into this Iran response video, I'm pretty sure you're going to see like just the disdain for that whole entire demeanor and just stance on this whole entire situation.
Man,
because, this doesn't help anything. And
no, it
at
doesn't.
the end of the day,
it doesn't.
These are old men that are having disagreements within our countries when young men are being sent off to fight and be unalived by each other.
That's facts.
If we were walking around together, let's say in Spain, just a bunch of Iranians and a bunch of Americans, and we didn't know anything about any of these conflicts, let's say like we were just removed from our phones and we didn't see anything like this happen at all. We mess around and be friends. If we were just locked in a cage together.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
We'd be cool. I've never met an Iranian before.
Yeah.
I met a Pakistani person and like we were very cool. Like that was my guy. Like we was cool as hell.
Yeah.
But it was just because we worked together. Like we really got along. I always looked out for him and he always looked out for me. And it's just very unfortunate that young people in this world are about to pass away because of
senseless war.
Yeah, old men just having a disagreement. It's like you said, very senseless. But that's all I really got on that before we get back into the video. You good?
I'm good.
All right, man.
Death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin-Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But
either you're going to get down or you're going to lay down.
That's what I got from it.
And for some reason right now, what I'm thinking is this. Iran has some shit that we ain't never even seen before. They got an ace up their sleeve. And the way that this nigga is talking, he's about to be sick. Because it's going to be some shit that we ain't never seen before, even seen coming from these niggas. We've been in contact, well, not contact, but conflict with these boys for way too long for them not to have some shit up their sleeve, especially if some shit like this happened.
They got some shit up their sleeve, but I feel like we got even more shit up our sleeve.
That's cool.
So, like, I don't know.
They got the allies, though.
They do have the allies. They have the allies, and that's the scary part.
Yeah.
That's the part that's most concerning.
Russia and China.
Yeah, that's the part that concerns me. I'm not trying to go to war with them niggas. I'm not.
We lose. China is 7. I'm sorry.
I ain't trying to fight with them at all.
Yeah, motherfuckers been getting me weak with the Iran, she ran, he ran, USA at 5 memes, but
Yeah, nah.
Hey.
This is not what we want.
yeah, we really don't want that smoke.
Yeah.
And like I said, this is like a pissing contest that nobody's gonna win at the end of the day. We all are gonna suffer some very high casualties, and it's gonna be all for nothing. Because these niggas gonna be dead in the next 10 years.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's
So
true.
yeah, it's just very unfortunate that we're letting these leaders lead us to an early grave. But we're going ahead and switch gears and treat this kind of like a stream for y'all.
Yeah.
We're about to see Iran's response to this whole entire situation and what he just had to say.
For sure.
Hold on, y'all. Bear with me. Bear with me. I'm bringing it to you here. Slowly but surely. Bear with me here. Nah, it was BBC News. Yeah, there we go. Here we go. I told y'all, I'm bringing it to you. This is like a stream. We ain't buying YouTube Premium until y'all pay us.
Oh shit, it's Iron.
It's become one of the most dangerous.
Robert Downey Jr.?
Yeah.
Get your ass out of here,
Protests
nigga.
have taken place in Tehran despite mass evacuations there. The BBC isn't allowed to broadcast from inside Iran, but we have this report from Siavash Ardalan of the BBC Persian service in London.
In the center of the crowd, Iran's president, surrounded by hundreds of party faithful, venting their fury at the United States.
Oh, yeah, they doing a Nazi salute,
What
okay.
America did is truly unforgivable, says this woman. Iran is stronger than they perceive. But after last night's U.S. attacks, the regime here is seriously weakened. So what comes next? The Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei could swallow his pride and possibly save his regime and the country from further damage. Or he could fight on and risk everything. Domestic public opinion is now divided and confused.
The response must be firm and decisive. What's at stake here is the very identity of being Iranian. In my opinion, Iran needs to engage in some reflection and contemplation.
As for the country's Revolutionary Guard, it responded by saying U.S. military bases in the region are vulnerable. But they know retaliation would invite further U.S. attacks. This is a state TV reporter who went to Fordo. I can't see much damage, he says. For now, it's America's word against Iran's. Weakened and humiliated, the Iranian regime will struggle to maintain its credibility and grip on power in the face of widespread discontent. Siavash Ardalan, BBC News.
We can speak now to...
Right now, they ain't got no choice but to respond.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
what their response is really going to determine a whole bunch of shit. And I guarantee y'all, we going to get a response before the end of this week.
Absolutely.
Because it's going to be a swift reaction.
What?
They said, I remember seeing something earlier today that said that they had most major cities in the United States under like high alert for the next 48 hours.
Yeah.
And if they did something in New York again,
9/11 2.0.
it's going nuclear, bruh. It's going nuclear.
That'd be crazy.
You do something to New York again?
Man, we can't have that.
I feel sorry for you, Amada.
Yeah, we.
I'm so serious, bruh. 'Cause Trump, he ain't gonna care, bruh. Like,
Yeah.
oh, his kids there? So?
Yeah.
It's more than necessary in war.
Watch this.
Is his mom gonna be there?
Watch. Yep. Eliminated.
Crazy.
You're fired.
Crazy. That's crazy.
Celebrity Apprentice.
Type shit. But yeah, let's get back into the video.
Kalabasi, correspondent for BBC Persian, who's joining us. Bahman, very good to see you. We don't have a great picture of the general mood right now inside Iran, but what can you tell us? We mentioned there were some protests in Tehran, but also, as we saw in that report, support for the government in the face of what they see as U.S. aggression.
There's definite mass discontent with this regime, and the immediate need that talking to people is very obvious is for this strike and counter-strike cycle to end. The Israelis stop attacking Iran, and Iran stop retaliating. That is the first thing that much of the public is hoping would happen as soon as possible. There has been many civilian casualties, the infrastructure is being hit, and the lives of millions of people have been disrupted. It's one thing to hear, bombers and drones on TV, but it's another thing to live under them day in and day out and hear those voices and be worried that your area, your neighborhood could be next. So that is the reality in the short term, but in the medium term and the long term, I think a lot of Iranians would want this to end permanently, which means they do not want the government to retaliate at all. Of course, there are hardliners who support the regime, and there is some rallying around the.
I gotta pause it real quick.
Yeah.
Let me say this to my folks in the Middle East. Us Americans, especially a lot of us that don't have military family and people that have died overseas during this war, even some people that do have family that was involved in this war. I've even heard people that were in the military say this as well. If they could do it again, it still wouldn't have amounted to nothing going over there and fighting y'all.
Yeah.
And truth be told, we don't even want to fight y'all for real.
No.
Like I said earlier, this is an old man's war that's being created, and our youth die at the end of the day. If it was up to us, we wouldn't be going over there. We the people, we wouldn't be going over there.
No way. No way.
And taking away any of y'all lives because it amounts to nothing. We want peace just as much as y'all do. But like I said, it's our leaders that are in charge, that are making these moves, that are directing our militaries to go against each other just to get their way. I don't understand why diplomacy doesn't work, but at the same time, when you're dealing with men, there's going to be violence.
Yeah.
When there's conflict.
Yeah, for sure.
When there's conflict.
For sure.
And it's a very unfortunate situation. So prayers for both sides, because we're going to lose a lot of loved ones in the coming years over this conflict, and you guys are going to... Ain't no telling what type of devastation y'all niggas about to see, because Trump dropping a nuke. I see it. He's going to drop a nuke.
Yeah.
He's itching to be the first president since whoever it was, Dwight Eisenhower, or whoever it was.
Eisenhower
or was it Truman?
Roosevelt.
Oh, it was Roosevelt?
Wasn't that when they bombed Japan?
Yeah, it was when they bombed Japan. Yep. Okinawa and Hiroshima.
World War II. It had to be either. It was one of them.
Okay.
Roosevelt.
I want to say it was
or
Truman.
Truman or Eisenhower.
It was probably Roosevelt or Truman.
Okay.
I don't know. Let us know in the comments, because we need a little history fact check here.
Facts. World War II. That was World War II for sure.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, man, this is just very unfortunate, and we much rather not see anybody down either side, because this is nothing to play with.
Facts.
All right.
Ag effect of this as well, but the majority remains hopeful that the regime calculates that this will be too costly if they attack American interests in the region. So that is where the population stands on the large scale, that is hoping that the war would end and that there is no further escalation by the regime. But that still takes us where it was before these attacks started, which was a country heavily sanctioned, economy in the worst shape has been since maybe the beginning of this regime, and there's no light at the end of the tunnel without some sort of a negotiated settlement that opens up Iran's economy, that lifts the sanctions, and that feels far away right now.
So what options do you think does that leave for the Iranian regime? And can we learn anything from how it responded to the assassination of Qasem Soleimani during Donald Trump's first
Not
term?
many good options. If they are one to finally make a U-turn and accept that their policies have brought Iran to this point, even though they find it unfair and even though they actually are worried about the consequences, the reality is they don't actually have very good options. If they decide to come out and say that we want to negotiate, then they have given up all that they have invested in, billions of dollars, and with nothing to show for it. And if they want to retaliate, we know the cost might be even higher. So it's a very difficult place that the regime is in right now. Of course, they blame the United States and Israel, and some of it does find audience in Iran.
All right, that's pretty much the video, though. But yeah, it's seeming like they definitely need to just go ahead and bend the knee. But
That's
like
why
we
I'm saying
both
kiss
said,
the ring and lay down, but
Yeah.
that's not gonna happen.
it's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen.
And yeah, that's all we really got for the video, man. Do you got any final thoughts that you want to close out with, though?
Hey man, honestly, I'm just waiting to see shit happens. To be honest with you,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have no thoughts. To be honest with you, because I kind of saw this coming, if I'm being honest with you.
For sure.
I really did. So it's really all I got on it.
For sure. Man, prayers up.
Thanks.
Because we're about to witness serious loss over the next few years.
Yeah.
And this has been the Take Out Our podcast. Please leave y'all comments in the comment section
like,
below.
comment, subscribe, please.
Please do subscribe. We're trying to hit 50 subscribers before the end of June.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate y'all tapping in with us.
Peace.
Bitch, I just